welcome to Cybertopia Season 2. We pick up with the gang after the events of the finale where everybody got blown up. Tonight, we are playing with Cassa, Keith, Mark, and Dee. Why don't we, one by one, introduce you and your characters? Let's say it's been like a week you've been in a coma and you're just kind of waking up in this field hospital. So, groggily, each one of you wakes up and looks around. We'll start with Cassa, who plays Amelia.
Yeah, you'll see Amelia lying there, probably still sleeping. She's just out of it, I think. She reaches for Darlin, because that's her best friend and gun, her only friend and the only thing that she's got at the moment. Her arm is off. There's no blood or anything because it was a cybernetic arm, but now she feels a little bit off balance, off kilter. Yeah, she's just waiting around, half awake, but still with the image of being asleep.
How long had she had the cybernetic arm up until this point? Was it something she'd had for like her life, or?
I think she got it when she got Darlin. It came as a
package deal.
Set. Yeah, so that's why she used to have like really good aim with him, like a special kind of sharp aim, but now she doesn't know if that'll work anymore, but she hasn't had the time to think about how that'll affect her and Darlin.
Yeah, I imagine the loss of the arm will be quite a unbalancing thing for Amelia. Did she manage to keep on her cowboy hat throughout all of this?
I think that's what happened. She was holding on to a cowboy hat with one arm, and then the other one was to block whatever was coming, or the explosion, and then...
Lost an arm, kept the hat.
Yeah, exactly.
The sacrifices you make for style.
Worth.
Okay, so on to then Keith. What is the state of Cookie now?
Oh, Cookie's not been having a good year, has he? Busted down from the entertainment division, being their chief talent scout for finding new people to put on the airways for Amazing Core, turned into a secret agent as part of this secret agency, and now waking up in a coma. His beautiful TV looks slightly dampened by a scar running across his neck a little, so a bit of a problem with the crystal clear voice that he had beforehand. As he comes to realize he's got a splitting pain in his hands, it's making it a bit harder to do all the fine manipulation work that he used to be able to do. But as he comes to, the operating system for his built-in cybernetic starts to kick in, and it starts to scan the faces of the nurses and orderlies who are bussing around this field hospital trying to drag information down from the Amazing Core network. And slowly Cookie realizes he's been blocked off from accessing things and just mentally shuts down the external connections just because he's under the impression things aren't all quite right at the moment.
Always the paranoia.
Yeah. So it's just waking up as soon as someone glances in his direction, is going to just close his eyes and pretend that he's still like groggily waking up in need of morphine.
Okay. All right. Mark, how's Sir Ingram? I'm imagining a bit dented.
Yes, he is like everybody at Amazing Core, everybody in these field bads. He didn't have a good week, having a little bit of a crisis of faith with Amazing Corps' final orders not being entirely, gentlemanly, which was a little bit of a bummer.
But the tea's still flowing, though. So
yes.
The important things are still there.
Well, is it, though? He does wake up, and the first thing Sir Ingram realizes is that there are shards and metal a little bit on his face, and he brushes away the remains of his cybernetic monocle, which is now completely broken beyond repair. He doesn't have it anymore. So, feeling fear in his heart, he reaches down, with shaky arms, grabs a cup, puts it to his shoulder, presses a button, and to his utter relief, a cup of Earl Grey is poured out. The tea dispenser still works!
Alright, let's have a roll. We're going to the first roll of the night.
Oh boy. Oh no.
Let's see the state of the tea.
This is perfect.
This is a roll for tea contamination here.
Roll for tea.
It's been a few weeks though, right? Surely it's going to be the most stewed cup of tea imaginable.
Well, let's take a look. Come on, don't roll a natural one dice. Come on, please.
You can see the universe.
Okay, that's a 19.
Okay. For a second there, I thought it was going to be bad.
The dice tell a story. It has to be the tea.
It's not a 20, but it's a 19.
There's definitely a sense of fear and tension that's running through Ingram as he's pouring out this tea. assuming that there's going to be rust or debris or something, and fortunately a perfect cup of Earl Grey pours out.
And the nurses see him from a tensed, fearful state just in a couple of seconds. Relax. The most important bit is still intact.
Okay, so D. Toby rouses to the smell of tea being poured and here's a gentle sipping. What is the state of Toby these days?
Toby. Toby is having a mother of a time, considering the fact that he basically was mostly, without really knowing it, but he was more or less relying on the regenerative capabilities of the cryostasis that Amazing Corps put them into between missions to kind of clear out all of the nasty stuff that the toxins and drugs that he pumps himself full of leave behind. He is now having the worst hangover in the history of the world. There's a concoction of chemicals still clearing out of his system that is probably preventing the local staff from actually giving him useful medicine or painkillers because they fear what it might cause in combination with everything. The exoskeleton that he was wearing probably got extremely mangled considering the fact that he was on the top floor when everything exploded and went to hell. I'm assuming that parts of the exoskeleton actually had to be basically crowbarred off of his body. And so only parts of it remain in place where it kind of ended up embedding itself and intertwining too much with the rest of his body. And at the moment, he's not even capable of processing anything. Even this rousing from this comatose state was mostly just to moan and try to turn around and feel some strange part of his body he didn't know he possessed suddenly feel pain and then kind of try to drift back into sleep, probably prevented from the adrenaline that he pumped into himself.
Yeah, that would be disorientating for sure. Okay, so one of the orderlies or one of the staff in this field hospital notices you all kind of slowly rousing. Maybe some of you sit up or something, and this guy comes over. It's like,
"Oh, hello. Hi. Welcome. I expect you're all a bit dazed, confused. My name is Darren. I have been watching over you while you have been resting or recuperating. I don't know how much you remember of how you got in this state, but you were all involved in a rather large explosion."
Yes.
"I'm afraid that, though we were able to recover your bodies, we weren't able to find any identification, and we weren't able to find you in the systems at all. So perhaps you would like to introduce yourselves to me, and then we can continue to converse on a name-to-name basis."
It seems like the more gentlemanly way of handling things. You did save our lives, apparently, after all.
"Oh, well, not exactly. I'm a volunteer for the Citizen Safety Patrol. You were recovered to the safe house that we set up in the east of the city.
Oh.
Me and my colleagues here have just been watching over you while you've been comatose for the past week."
And who actually saved us?
"It was other members of the recovery effort who pulled your bodies from the rubble. Unfortunately, there were rather a lot of death, but you and a handful of others were the only ones to be pulled from the wreckage, and aside from some technological damage that you all seem to have suffered in certain ways, otherwise miraculously unscathed."
Oh, yes. The important bits are all still there.
Can I ask,
Yes.
has anyone come to visit us while we were out?
"Oh no, no one would have been allowed to. But also, no one as far as I know has sought you out. As I said, we are not able to identify you to contact next of kin or anything like that. So sorry. Your names?"
I'm Lee.
"Lee?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Lee.
And sorry, your name was?
My name's Darren. How much do you remember? Why were you at this place that got blown up?"
I was just there for a good time, I think. I remember just as much as you do. Did the doctor say there was no injuries to the head, I suppose?
"No, you were examined by a medic on site before getting shipped over here. We're not entirely sure how, but yes, apart from the comas, you all seem to be completely physically unharmed."
Very peculiar.
yes, he will turn to Sir Ingram at this point and
"So, T-person, apparently?"
Yes. You can call me Sir Ingram, or just Ingram for short, if that's your fancy.
Okay, we're not entirely sure what was going on at this location. It seemed like there was some sort of large gathering of military personnel, perhaps?
The club wasn't on, but it was.
The club? Sorry, your name was?
And he'll turn to Toby.
Toby, TS 187.
Oh, is that a military designation?
Lab.
Lab? What? What were you doing at this location?
Turning the club off.
Turning the club off? What? Was it some sort of underground rave or something?
Raid the.
Can I just ask if Darren seems like genuinely concerned, or if he's like trying to figure out what's his motive here? Like, is he trying to find out what he can from us, or is he just trying to make small talk and help us along our way?
You can do a roll if you want to try.
Is he a good Samaritan or is he a KGB Samaritan?
Like, the fun question I've got is like, obviously I've got my eyes because I'm pretending to be like still in the coma, but I can hear Ingram, who's a voice I recognize. Darren is a voice I don't. I'm assuming I've had personnel files at least to know all the other people who are in the group with us, so I at least may know of Amelia and Toby.
Yeah, you'd know of them, even though you hadn't worked together, you'd know them, yeah.
I mean, Toby literally gave his official designation within.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, within Tabula Rasa. So I know, but I don't know the Citizen Safety Patrol. So just Cookie's racking his brain wisely going, what the fuck's the Citizen Safety Patrol?
You'd know of the Citizen Safety Patrol, because they are basically the people who run the municipal side of the city, whilst Amazing Corp do all of the things that a corporation might want to do. The Citizen Safety Patrol are like the people who used to be the cops or the mayor's office and that sort of stuff. Again, much less powerful than Amazing Corp, but they would be a known entity. Yeah, so Cassa, if you want to roll for, I don't know, whatever it would be to try and determine like the sincerity of this person.
I rolled a 6, so it's no good.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you're still a bit disoriented and just trying to get yourself together. It seems like they're telling the truth. They're just some person, a volunteer who's there to oversee you and make sure that you're okay until you wake up. And he's just trying to find out information from you, just find out what happened, who you are, and that sort of thing, because they don't have any idea at all about what happened or who you are.
It doesn't seem like we're kept there. Like we have to answer these questions. Like we could.
Oh, not at all. Like you're not
oh.
restrained or anything. Like if you have a look around, there's not like a barred door and there's no like bodyguards or security personnel. They just look like orderly kind of people. So yeah, he'll now turn to Cookie. Let's have a roll from Cookie to see how well he's managing to pull off I'm still asleep.
I sleep.
I sleep, I say, as the little bits of cybernetics in the sides of my eyelids start to just flicker occasionally. Well, I rolled a 4, so I'm not doing a particularly good job of this.
You literally say, I sleep.
Sleep mode engaged. It's like
from the implant, there's a voice that goes, fake sleep mode activated.
He'll step over to Cookie and look down and be like,
Hello. I can tell you're awake. I know you must be drowsy and all, but it would be very good to just make sure that you are cognizant at least.
No, hi. How's it going? Darren, was it? Darren, great to meet you.
Ah, good. I thought you were listening.
Darren, how long have you been an orderly, a nurse, a doctor, maybe?
No, none of that. I'm just a volunteer. I was drafted in to help with the recovery effort for the demolition.
Demolition?
Oh, we're still not entirely sure what occurred at this building, but there was maybe 100 people pulled dead from the rubble. Potentially more bodies in the building. It's been a week. They're still trying to pull people out.
That's atrocious.
There were perhaps a dozen of you that were recovered alive and seemingly unscathed. What were you doing? Were you all together? Were you a team? It seemed you all kind of know each other.
Just looking over towards Ingram,
Oh, yes, we have met before.
I've met you before, yes.
Yes.
Don't believe I've met points at Amelia and Toby. Don't believe I've met them before, but I'm familiar with, and I know that Ingram said his name, so I'm familiar with Ingram.
So, your name was?
Oh, I'm sure it's not entirely important. Cookie's trying to just blaze straight past giving his name at all in this situation, trying to change the subject at every moment.
I'm sorry, I don't mind if you give a fake moniker or something. I just would like to be able to address you in some manner. It doesn't matter if you tell me your name is Jonathan or Caliban or whatever you'd like to be.
You can call me Gold.
Gold. Okay. Thank you, Gold. I'm sorry, this must be very odd for all of you. Honestly, I'm not an investigator or anything. I don't need to know exactly what you were doing or what was going on. It's just it was a very confusing situation for all of us. We were just drafted in to watch over you. There was nothing physically wrong with any of you. We were just asked to watch you while you were asleep and be here for you when you woke up, so you wouldn't be too confused. And well, we didn't really know what to do with you.
Well, I can answer what me and Ingram were doing. I can say fully confidently what me and Ingram were doing there.
Oh, yes?
We were catering.
Well?
We'd been contracted to arrive at this place, and we set up our catering facilities, and then the place exploded.
Yes.
Oh.
Although I don't think it was because of the tea, but I'm still not sure.
Pretty sure it wasn't the tea, Ingram.
That is not something I've heard of occurring with tea. I'm somewhat of a novice in the tea department, though.
I will point out that everything I just said was entirely truthful. We weren't necessarily contracted to cater for the place, but we were contracted to turn up, and then we catered.
Yep.
So, it was some sort of underground club with a catered section? Interesting.
I didn't ask too many details.
Fair enough. Well, I suppose you know who you are, so that's good. It's been about a week since you were in that building, so that will hopefully give you an idea of the time frame you're on. You're not held here. You're free to go if you'd like to. Is there someone I should contact for you? You said you were caterers. Should I get in contact with your employer?
Well, I don't know if the... I am rather confused how... the thing was, I don't think we had a contract for the catering, so I don't really know who actually asked for the catering, if anyone. We were just told to show up.
That's very odd. Is there someone that I could contact for you? Perhaps you have the employer of your catering organization, or something that I could get to come and pick you up?
Do you have that? Ingram stammers a bit, like his brain trying to work. The local tea shop? I don't know.
Tea shop? I don't know if there's a local tea shop. I know there's a lovely little place down on the harbor, but that is a fair distance from here. There's probably a cafe or something around here that does hot beverages. Tea seems to be the up-and-coming drink these days, so they may have tea there. But it also seems like you have your own supply, so...
Yeah, but, it's the only thing I have at the moment, dear Dad.
Oh, my. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to touch a nerve there.
No, there's not a nerve. I'm just thinking, and some things start surfacing, let's say it like that. Like, being in an explosion isn't entirely pleasant.
I can imagine. I'm sorry. I won't try to remind you too much of what you've been through. It must have been quite traumatic. So I imagine you might have some questions of your own. Is there anything I can help you with before I send you back on your way?
Where are we?
This is a CSP safe house located in the east of the city, or maybe a mile from the city center.
So no one's been to look for us, or no one's asked about us over the past week or so?
No.
No one's come to the place of the explosion to try and find us at all?
I'm afraid not, and that is one of the kind of confusing points, because a lot of the corpses that we've pulled from the rubble, they were sought out by their loved ones and next in kin, but no one has approached us about you lot.
Who else is in that room? Like, anyone? More people that are like us?
So there's probably a handful more, maybe 3 or 4 more other people similar to this gentleman, just kind of hovering around and doing orderly kind of things.
So, yes, there were about a dozen other people pulled from the rubbish in similar states to yourselves, and they've been taken to other safe houses around the city. As you can see, it's not a large facility we have here, so we took you lot and the others went to several other safe houses. But yes, no one has inquired about you specifically. You all seem to have quite distinctive looks, so I kind of thought that someone would, but apparently not. So yes, unfortunately I'm afraid no one has come for you. But as I said, you're free to go. You can go back to your homes or your employers or wherever you would like. Is there anywhere I can direct you to or help you to find?
Perhaps maybe we'll go check out that tea place. I could do with something to drink.
Yes, I can't promise you they do tea, but there's certainly a cafe there that can offer some food and beverage, I'm sure.
Could you direct me to your medicine cabinet?
Oh, I'm afraid we aren't actually supplied with any medical provisions because they said you were not medically impaired. Are you feeling okay?
I'm feeling so many things.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said you were clubbing. Are you still on a bit of a come down? No judgment, no judgment. I'm afraid I don't have anything that I could provide you that would take the edge off.
It's okay. I'll self-regulate.
I might have a herbal blend.
So, yes, we're not quite in the city center. There's not a lot of shops about. But if you want to head around the corner to the local cafe, I'm sure you can kind of orientate yourselves and figure out where you want to go from there. I expect that me and my colleagues will still be here for a few hours while we get everything packed up, since the safe house is no longer needed for your accommodations. So, if you have any further questions, feel free to come back and ask.
Hey, Darren, did you happen to see, was I with a gun? Is my gun there? Did I wake up with my gun?
Yes. Actually, yes, that's a good point. There were some that were recovered that were assumed to belong to each of you because they were nearby or somewhat attached or fused to yourselves. So, yes, this...
Hands over a kind of a sheet and kind of like flaps it over, and you can see Darling pretty battered up, pretty scratched, not saying anything like you would expect. Has maybe been quiet while it's not been in your hands.
I'll take it. Just, darling. She doesn't say anything and just puts her in her holster.
Yeah, Darling doesn't respond. And he will go to each of you and give you what small possession you had remaining that wasn't destroyed in the explosion. So we'll go to Sir Ingram and pass over a rather battered looking cane. We'll take Mr. Gold what does the cybernetics he has look like?
Yeah, the cybernetics are still like just things that sit in like just above the cheekbones for Cookie.
Oh, okay, they're subdermal.
So the subdermal things that are already built in. So
right.
At best, he's going to hand Cookie back maybe a watch that's massively broken and maybe his clothes. But I think Cookie notices the fact he doesn't have the sheer array of spy gear that he's used to having, and the credit card is kind of unnerving.
Maybe brings over like a crumpled credit card.
I don't think this is going to work anymore, but it seems to be yours. Maybe you can take it back to the credit union, have it replaced, I suppose?
Maybe.
And Toby, I mean, you've obviously got the exoskeleton. Your internal chemistry regulator, that's actually inside you as well, right?
Yeah, a part of it is basically implanted into the body so as to kind of like pump all of the stuff out. But there's certainly also parts of it that are kind of outside so that he can access like the controls and stuff. And
right. I guess he comes over to you and has a trolley basically of bits. And he's like,
I understand that you've got some of your mechanical parts. I'm not sure what the terminology is for this stuff, but still attached to you? Some of it seems to have become detached. I'm afraid I'm not able to do any mechanical engineering to help you in this situation, but maybe you can make use of this.
And just gives you a pile of scraps.
Yep. We kind of try to assemble what is useful and what isn't. Not necessarily immediately attach, but kind of like just try to figure out which parts are working and which aren't, so that I don't lug like a huge amount of trash with me.
I mean, I understand there may be some mechanical shops or something nearby. Maybe you could seek one of those out to do some repairs.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that there's not much more we can do to help you. But like I said, if you have any more questions, feel free to come back and we'll be happy to help. We'll be here for another couple hours while we all get ready to leave ourselves.
Well, thank you very much.
It's very nice to have met you and put names to the faces of people we've been watching over, and I wish you all the best.
Oh, thank you very much, Darren.
Likewise,
It's been a pleasure, honestly.
Indeed. I can't say the same.
So he will lead you to the door to this place, and it's quite a small little, like, just square, 4 walls and a window kind of building. And he opens the door and the light streams in. It's clearly morning time. You can see outside. It's not a busy part of the city. We're not talking quite suburbs, but it's somewhere between like the urban limits of the city centre. Like you said, about an hour out from the city centre there. So you can see there's like one of these kind of old, slightly run-down high streets, I suppose. And he'll point out just down the road, there's a cafe. And there's some various shops along the way as well. So you can perhaps do some browsing or exploring as well.
Well then, shall we? I mean, we've got a cafe heading plus shops.
Sure.
I would suggest sticking together for now until we found, well, a little bit of solid ground.
Welcome back to the mid-roll once more. Hope you're enjoying the new season so far, although I do recognise that these episodes for introducing our characters may seem a little similar. Things really start diverging quite quickly from here on out. Big thanks to our NPC voiceover folks for this episode, Sean Rackamodell of Gestorheim Productions and Cap from Shrimps and Crits, who you'll be hearing from shortly too, as well as of course our lovely players.
Adventurers and warriors, heed my call. What I have for you is a world of adventure where evolution and magic go hand in hand. I am Mark and I am playing Sir Ingram. Visit thewanderergames.com for all your high fantasy yet natural evolution and magic content. We've got something for everybody.
Hi, I'm Keith, and I play everyone's favourite talent and sleazeball, Cookie Standard. I'm a procedural generation specialist and sometimes stream independent game development on Twitch. Recently, we've also started playing the tactical mech RPG Lancer on my channel, with myself as GM and Ben, our lovely Cybertopia host, as one of 8 players. You can catch my game development work and the adventures of Lancer team Cam Delta on Thursdays at kaYNSD.twitch.tv, with edited versions to follow soon on YouTube. You can also find more of what I do at kaYNSD.itch.io and at Blue Sky with that same address.
Hey everyone, I'm D or Night Wanderer. Catch me blabbering on socials, DMing a superhero game on Would-Be Heroes, putting stuff up on itch, and streaming on Twitch. All of my stuff can be found under this username Night Wanderer, that's Wanderer with an O, or over in Linktree under Night Wanderer. Again, that's Wanderer with an O.
We don't have a mid-roll blurb for Cassa for this episode because she's disappeared into the realm of big life changes, but hopefully we can get one sorted for Amelia's next appearance. And here's a wee promo from friend of the show Maddie with a game of one's own. They play a variety of games themselves, and sometimes with guests, and it's a real insightful look into some of those systems you've maybe heard about, but rarely hear on actual plays because of the solo or duet kind of form.
Hello, I'm Maddie Searle, the host of A Game of One's Own, an actual play podcast from Snazzy Tapir Productions. This show is all about telling stories using solo and duet role-playing games. Expect an eclectic mix of science fiction tales, fantasy fables, and horror stories based on games from the most innovative indie designers, with a few special guests along the way. Let's tell some weird stories. You can subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts, follow us on Blue Sky and Instagram at A Game of One's Own, or find us on our website at snazzytapier.com.
What happened? Cookie's going to just say to the group at this juncture, it's like, last thing I remember, the op was going fine, and then everything exploded. What happened? Hi, I'm Cookie, by the way. I know I've seen everyone's here's files, but good to see you all.
I remember fighting off thugs, coming face to face with a wrecked giant droid kind of thing that crashed through the ceiling, running down the stairs, and then everything exploded. Maybe it's something to do with that. Something went wrong. I also remember that I was beginning to have doubts with what our employer was doing. The timing didn't really add up. I believe we might have been almost blown up regardless of if the op was going right. But that's just a hunch.
So we were downstairs in the club itself, keeping everyone distracted. What were you two up to, if you're okay saying this? And I assume we're in like a cafe at this point, sipping on the worst coffee we've ever tasted.
Let's presume you've got into the cafe, you've got seated, you're in like a booth in the corner or something, and you've made some orders for food and drink or whatever.
We were on the top floor.
You were the rooftop team.
Yeah.
And it was all going right for you, yes?
Yes. We finished the mission, and we notified headquarters that the mission was a success. Or no, we didn't. We wanted to ask a question of headquarters using the comm unit, and there was no response. And then everything exploded. Now, if my experiences from the lab are anything to go by, when they were done with experiments, you kind of erased all traces. Everything that was no longer useful was eliminated.
Everything no longer useful, you say?
Well, that was at least the way it was in the lab.
How about you, miss?
I can't remember the details, but I somehow get the feeling that we were told it was all a big scheme. We fought some people and they told us it was the end of us, and then everything exploded. But I can't be sure. Perhaps my mind's just filled in the gaps.
No, that feels about right with me as well, what you two are saying.
So, just putting this all together, we all do our jobs correctly. Do everything right for the company. Me multiple times. Have a perfectly sterling career with no mess-ups at all ever. Cookie lies through his teeth at this juncture, but he believes it. And then the company sees fit to blow us up?
It sure seems that way, sir.
Cookie looks at the broken Amazing Core credit card he's got and just rips it entirely up and just makes sure that all the tracking stuff is off on his cybernetics and goes, I'm probably not going to go back.
I would imagine we're all jobless.
Think it's time to go independent.
I think it was a redundancy severance.
At this point, the waiter robot comes over and says to you,
So, will there be anything else?
You're too loud.
Can I get a slice of pie?
Certainly.
Guess I'll just cover my ears then. I should have invented a drug that makes me deaf.
I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. How do you plan on paying for this meal?
Didn't you know that eavesdropping is very rude?
I'm afraid it's built into my programming.
Well, someone should have that fixed for you. Customer satisfaction is number one. That's what I heard. That's what my daddy taught me.
This does bring up a point. Are you paying customers?
Well...
looks at the torn up credit card on the table.
I hear you're currently unemployed.
Well, I mean, look, we are a group of rather remarkable talents. You have decent coffee. Ingram. It's like,
oh man, I can feel the pain. This is hard for Mark to say, let alone Sir Ingram.
However, I believe, well, at least I could provide with like a product with superior quality, and my companions here, like, for example, Mr. Gold here, he, if you want this place to be firm on the map and like get stellar representation, he is your man. And yeah, like my other two companions, they looks insistently at them both to like add because he has no idea what they can do. So yeah, he's trying to like negotiate sweet talk a little bit, etc.
Yeah, let's have a negotiating sweet talking roll then.
Okay, +2.
I don't want to
Let's go.
just roll away.
Let's go. That's okay. That's a 9 total.
9 total.
I'll go and talk to the chef to see what we can do for you poor people. I can see you're in quite a sorry state, so maybe we can comp you on these ones, and you can come back and reimburse us at a later time. Though I'm afraid we won't be able to provide any extra pie.
Well, that makes sense. You're very kind.
Fair enough.
So yeah, the robot kind of scoops up anything that's left off the table and it puts it into like its chest-mounted dishwasher and slides away to the other side of the cafe. And you can hear some like conversation between it and a robotic-sounding chef in the back room. Can I have a hearing roll from anybody that would be trying to listen in on this?
Sure.
Ingram is too hurt by the cough.
That's an 8.
15.
Okay, only Cookie hears this, but you pick up the distinct sound of a phone dialing.
Can I work out what the numbers are?
Not with a 15, but you can hear a phone dialing.
How many numbers do you hear?
Is it exactly 3 numbers?
Oh, I don't know what the number for the emergency services would be in Paradigm City. But yeah, it's probably not a great sign that the robot's gone back there and dialed the phone.
So the noisy robot raises a very good point. What are we going to do for employment opportunities? Perhaps we should talk about this quickly moving away from this place. And Cookie downs what's left of the coffee and gets up and starts moving for the door.
I am already on the way out.
He's walking with the cane.
Yeah, I guess we'll help Toby.
Yeah, we all drag Toby. We go back and realize he's still crawling.
Come on, chap. Come on. This is not the time.
4 burnt agents on the run from a cafe. Our first crime, stealing coffee.
Oh man, imagine that black mark on Sir Ingram's record. Stole coffee.
Bad
You're not
coffee.
going to pay for it.
Nobody needs to know.
This is actually how the group comes together. We now have blackmail on everyone.
Oh no.
So yeah, you drag yourselves outside. Let's say you duck down an alley down the road somewhere so you're not out in like plain view. What are you going to do now?
I need time. There's a massive amount of chemicals in my body at the moment, and I need time to figure out how to balance them out and detox, because otherwise this hangover is going to be permanent.
Oh,
Can you just go in one of those cryo thingy, Toby, whatever majiggies?
I would love to.
Are there any more of those? I'm pretty sure Amazing Corp can't be the only ones with them.
I think that we are missing a very key resource for that.
Cash.
Yes.
So, question for the GM. In Cookie's former life, before he was drafted to be part of this unit, he was a talent agent and a fairly successful one. Was busted down to this division because of unscrupulous business practices, as it were. How much money has Cookie stashed away, and is it enough to say we've got an emergency place to get to somewhere in the city just so that we've got a place to put a roof over our heads for 5 minutes?
Okay, so There is no paper money these days. Everything is done on credit.
But presumably Cookie's hidden something away.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Given his background, I would say that Cookie probably does have a stash somewhere, right? Like a offshore bank account under a different name or something. So yeah, as long as he has a way to get to that or get access to that, he could probably get that money, but
probably doesn't have access to the money. No,
he doesn't have immediate access to it, so you'd have to find an access point sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling that he was about to try that and then got caught, so then got busted down, but probably has a place somewhere, like a place that might be safe for 5 minutes, at least for a place for Toby to sit down and get his brain in order.
Okay.
And at least give us a place to have this conversation aside from outside next to a burning oil drum.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a future, so the fire would be holographic.
Oh, God.
Holographic oil drum.
You can make fire.
With like an infrared sheeting and just a hologram of the fire.
It provides no warmth, but uses twice as much energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so Cookie's foxhole, where would it be? Would it be like in the CBD, city centre, or like some hidden like hole somewhere out in the outskirts?
I think it's close to the entertainment district. It's going to be a place where you would put a disagreeable performer for 5 hours before their set if they are not cooperating, so you can get them all the stuff on their riders and all the contract negotiations sorted out in a place far away from paparazzi eyes.
Okay.
And then get them to the gigs as fast as possible. So it's just going to be literally a studio apartment that's ratty and run down, but has got soundproofing.
But we're talking like a noisy, busy place where people can just kind of disappear.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say that that's not far. That's probably walkable from where you are.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we talked about like a area like that kind of being in the northeast of the city. So yeah, you can kind of walk your way over there. I'm assuming you're not going through the open roads sort of way. You're going through the back streets and that because you're trying to not be too obvious or seen.
And this is where we have to rely on the other three because Cookie has no idea how to accomplish that at the moment.
What do you want to accomplish?
Getting us there without being seen by a mason call.
Like it's probably like an hour walk. If you want to try not to be too conspicuous whilst doing this, firstly, I'd say you need some sort of navigation roll. But secondly, if you don't want to make too much of a spectacle of yourselves, especially given the state you're all in, some sort of stealth kind of roll.
I don't have anything but both of those.
Yeah, I had to get rid of my stuff.
Oh dear.
We're not the sneaky party.
If anybody wants to feel brave and say that their character would be the person that would be taking the lead or anything, then you can just do a straight roll. Straight rolls aren't nothing.
Let's navigate.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do the navigation. Somebody else does the stealth. Let's go. Ingram, navigation powers. Hey. Oh, that's a 14.
Nice.
Okay.
I'll try the stealth.
Okay, go on.
That's a 12.
Okay. Reasonable rolls. So it's not the most straightforward of routes. You probably take a few wrong turns and it maybe takes, like, at best it would take an hour. This probably takes more like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. But it's not like you go completely off the beaten track and it's not that far a distance to get it wrong. Probably by the time you're getting there, the city's really starting to wake up now. It's probably more like lunchtime. So there's some more people around, like people going out for their lunch breaks and that sort of thing. And you're not the most stealthy, but it doesn't really matter. No one seems to be looking for you from where the places you go. Nobody's like spotting your faces and be like, oh my God, I saw them on the news. So you think you're probably safe in that regard, but you eventually get to Cookie's bolt hole in the entertainment district.
It's perfectly silent and hidden, and then every now and then there's just a...
Yeah, I'm imagining it's like up a few flights of stairs and there's like a buzzing neon sign on the other side of the street, but it's just a studio apartment and there's like a double bed and a chair in the corner and a table, and that's pretty much it.
Pretty much it. There might be a kettle.
Yes! I need to refill.
But there is nothing of value in this place at all. So I guess we just lay Toby onto the bed so he can get his body chemistry sorted out. We pull up the folding table, like a poker table, and start discussing plans, I guess. Also, I have a very silly idea to help Toby at this juncture.
Oh, yeah.
I am a talent agent.
Oh, no.
And therefore,
I see where this is going.
I've probably dealt with lots of stars and people who are in serious need of going to rehab.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
So I will try and work out exactly what body chemistry is currently wrong with Toby and what steps we require to fix it, and maybe look in the bathroom to see if there's any like things left behind of, this is only 2 years expired, this will be fine.
Yeah, no, that's...
Okay, I've got an idea for a series of roles to do here to kind of resolve the Toby situation, hopefully. Firstly, let's have a searching role for Cookie to find out what he can find in his apartment.
So there's not going to be much, is there? That's a 3, so there's nothing here. Yes.
Yeah. Cookie starts looking through the cupboards and very quickly realizes, oh no, we don't store anything here, because when you bring junkie celebs to places like this, they go searching through the cupboards for drugs. So yeah, you don't have really anything. Maybe toothpaste is what you find.
They didn't eat the toothpaste. I'm impressed.
It's very old, kind of crusty toothpaste.
They didn't eat the toothpaste. I'm impressed.
It's peppermint. Nobody likes peppermint toothpaste.
I hand Toby a tube of peppermint toothpaste.
Beautiful.
Okay, so the next part of this is that, Cookie, if you're going to try and figure out what's wrong with Toby or the best way to help him, you can roll talent agent, I guess.
Yes. God. So with my +3 core, that's a 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Can't roll above 5 today.
I mean, it doesn't do any damage to him, but you're probably not really helping. You're probably like suggesting a whole bunch of stuff to him that he's like, no, I've tried that. No. Like, I know that's not the problem. Stop it. Just leave me to think.
Look, maybe we should try that herbal infusion. Maybe.
Yes, that is also a good idea. Are there any chemicals left in my regulator?
There'll be some. It's been bashed around a bit, so it may be a bit mixed up. It may not be as effective as previously, but there's probably something in there. What I'll say is, if Ingram wants to try and assist on this, he can give you a calming cup of tea to help you focus.
Yeah, calming cup of tea. Maybe, like, chemicals. Like brewing tea is also working with kind of chemicals, right? But
absolutely. I mean, it's
chemicals.
folk remedies.
Okay, come on. Give us luck. You're not going to like this.
Oh, no. Are we just headed towards my voluntary handicap just going to end up having a new character?
2 + 1, it's 3.
Oh, wow. Toby is getting no help here.
Character. Yeah. No.
Right. Amelia, do you just want to go and shoot him?
Seriously, yeah, no, at this point.
I mean, I don't even know if I can shoot. So, yeah, no.
Yeah, okay. Right.
Oh, I can. I have the Moose app. I mean,
the Moose app. Oh, that is the Moose app is actually...
Okay, maybe if he starts having a seizure, we can go to the Moose app, yeah.
Okay. So you can see it through her mind. She's like, should I do it? Shouldn't I? And then maybe I'll just wait a little.
Just looking at the others flailing around, you're like, what can I do? It's that whole, like, when you're holding a hammer, everything's a nail sort of situation. Okay, Toby, let's see if you can just figure this one out on your own.
Yeah, so I would like to try to figure out, like, if I can, what's going on, and to see, like, what kind of balancing out chemical concoction I can make and try to inject into myself.
So I think we'll kind of combine all of this into a single role for you. So the process of figuring it out and administering anything to yourself, you can include all of the things that would be appropriate for that process.
Because everything is kind of like janky and risky, would you allow me to apply my resilient core as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that'll be a +6.
What I will offer you is you could make this a danger roll if you want.
Okay.
Which means it's a 50-50. You just have to get above a 10. And if you do, then you will be completely perfectly fine. Everything will work out wonderfully. But if you get below a 10 on the dice, it'll be pretty catastrophic.
And I don't know what the difficulty would be if I went with the bonuses.
If you went with just the bonuses, it'll be on a spectrum. It'll be on a scale.
Right.
I love offering a gamble.
Do you feel lucky, Punk?
Yeah, do I?
Well, if something bad happens, I can always...
Yeah. I'll go for the danger roll.
Okay, we're still going to have your +6 total. So that if there is a crit either way, then we'll get a special effect, I guess.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, let's go. Papa needs some new shoes. That's exactly a 10 without the bonuses. It's 16 with the bonuses. It's a 10 on the die.
Okay, it could be worse.
It could be 9 worse.
Yeah. You're all watching. What does Toby do to try and do this process to himself?
I mean, I guess the first part would be to try to remember what the last things were that he injected himself with. He would also try to kind of like feel what he is feeling, kind of like trying to identify all of the stuff that is going on within him, and then try to use his knowledge of biochemistry and what little chemicals he has, plus herbal tea and crusty peppermint toothpaste, to see if he can create a concoction that kind of like detoxes or balances that out.
Okay, so you all kind of see Toby just buzzing around, getting these things and like fiddling with his apparatus and stuff and mixing stuff together. None of you are quite sure what he's doing, and eventually he just lays down on the bed. You see him press a button, and you hear some whirring and some bubbling and some hydraulics and stuff happening, and you see him close his eyes, and for a moment you think, okay, I think he's going to be okay, going to be all right. And then he starts seizing.
That's not good.
Amelia's right there with the Muzap, and she just and then
Okay, let's have a
Zap.
Muzap roll.
Muzap. It's
Come
a plus
on.
one.
A good roll.
It's a plus
Come
one.
on.
Come on.
We would do one.
Oh, it was a 9.
Okay.
I was like, wait, let me add. No, it's just plus one.
Okay. Yeah, Amelia jumps in with the Muzap as Toby is shaking on the bed, and she zaps him, and he goes limp.
Did that work?
Did that help,
I got
Toby?